Welcome back to the lab. Okay, so just brief. I think this lab is not particularly difficult, so I think it shouldn't take us too much time. So essentially, we have here the following components. So we have here the lab 5 R&D file, which is the same as what we see here in the actual R file. So again, we create that, to data and head MT cars. So this is the cars data set that we know already. We run summary fit1, which is essentially we're seeing here miles per gallon as a function of QSEC, which I'm not sure what that essentially is. Let's quickly check what that is. Still not sure. Let's quickly. Okay, so I informed myself it's a measure of acceleration, which essentially miles per gallon. So the higher it's a positive interaction. So the higher the acceleration, or the stronger the acceleration, the stronger the engine, the higher the miles per gallon consumption. So essentially, we see the output that we know already. We're plotting here a scatter plot that essentially we have already seen in the past. We can essentially now also add here an airline fit1, right? So this would essentially, yeah, if we would do it from scratch, we could essentially show the airline, which would be here. Okay. One. Okay. Okay. So the airplane needs to be done differently. So we can do this, data, cars. Okay. So this is when I mean to deviate from things. Things always get more complicated because that's the problem. With things are programmed in a certain way. Sometimes things are just not working out as you plan. Okay, so this is the same. Oh boy, and the airplane still doesn't work. fit1. Why is this not working? Because QSEC is why is this not working? But I'm concurring the root not understanding. Okay, not working. Okay, so this is with the airplane. So, but I leave it. You don't have to do this. So it's not necessary. I was just meant to show you that you can implement airplanes fairly quickly. You can the y hat 0 from the regression. You can predict as fit1. So y hat 0 is essentially showing you those fitted. Then if you do the same with y hat 1, you actually get the same predicted values. And for coefficient fit1, so this is y hat 2 minus 5.81. And this is actually the equation where you essentially you mean to predict. So this is the predicted y hat 2, which is essentially the equation, right? So we mean to quantify now for each entry, for each x, we are quantifying a y hat. So hat df essentially becomes now a list of these estimates. And they are, because they were extracted the same way, they are identical. So if we are adding now a regression line to the scatter plot, so now they're doing it, okay. So we essentially see now the airplane fit 1, manual calculation, so we can now calculate our total sum of squares, the regression sum of squares, and the error sum of squares, the residual sum of squares. So as we know, TSS is the sum of MPG minus Y mean squared, gives us the total sum of squares. The regression sum of square is Y hat 0 minus Y mean. We remember that from lecture, right? So we get the regression sum of squares, and this is the residual sum of squares. So now the regression sum of squares and the residual sum of squares is 1126. And we go further. Now we have an X mean. Now we're calculating here X and Y. So beta 1 is now sum of all of these entries. And this is not a beta 1, right? So this is the actual beta 1 coefficient. And if you look beta 0, it's the same. So if we remember now, fit 1 has the very same coefficient, right? Minus 5 points. So this is essentially how you will calculate by hand your essential coefficient using the least square method. So coefficient 1, we get these, the beta 1 and the beta 2. Okay. Okay. And now based on that, you can essentially prove the formulas for lab number 5. And you can essentially do this now with the same. Using the same approach. All right, have fun with the lab. Keep me posted if any problems, and happy to jump on a call. And we're gonna do our review again next week on Wednesday. Oh no, probably Tuesday. All right, sounds good. Okay, let me know if any question. Please use the discussion board and have fun with the lab. Bye-bye.